At the south end of the central and eastern alignment, water would be stored in the southern forebay. This reservoir would balance the incoming water from the pumping plant with the outgoing flow into the State Water Project facilities. It would allow operation to continue during a planned or unplanned pumping outage or another disruption to the system. The pumping plant would be at the north perimeter of the southern forebay. The function of the pumping plant would be to lift water from the tunnel up into the southern forebay. The southern forebay launch shaft would be at the pumping plant site. When the pumping plant begins construction, tunnel operations would move about a mile north to a new shaft site. Tunnel liner segments would be fed in and RTM would come out of this shaft instead of the original southern forebay launch shaft. This would allow the space needed for the pumping plant to be constructed. This render highlights the key components of the southern forebay. The forebay embankment is about 30 feet above the ground to allow operations even if the surrounding land were flooded. The facility would have an outlet structure to allow water to flow out and eventually be released into the State Water Project facilities. An emergency spillway would let water flow safely out of the reservoir if it were in danger of overtopping. The inlet of the southern forebay would be at the pumping plant. This render highlights the key components of the pumping plant. To perform its major functions, the plant would house an electrical building, an electrical substation, and a building for equipment storage and shops. The pumping plant building would house the pumps and would be located directly above the pump suction wells, which will be described later. The emergency generator building would provide backup power for all life safety systems during any main electrical supply power outages. An on-site gantry crane would be required for managing the gate and dewatering equipment at the gravity outlet and tunnel overflow shaft structure. A few of the key components of the pumping plant would exist underground. This render shows the tunnel shaft, where water would flow from the tunnel. It also shows pump suction wells from which all the water would be pumped. The southern forebay is located north of the Byron Highway, just west of Clifton Court Forebay. The current land use designation is Recreation and Resources, and the site is currently a mixture of corn, alfalfa, and winter wheat crops. The total construction area would be about 1,730 acres for the southern forebay, pump station, and working shaft combined. These facilities would take about 8 years to construct, and once constructed, the permanent footprint would be about 1,400 acres. This map shows the proposed routes for construction traffic.